Previously, on the road trippy thing that we've done. Another one?
I'm so happy we got the ET5T.
This is not my music.
Good news is, oh no, I've lost my 5G. So we've just finished our hike at Pingshan. We're a little bit tired. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no restaurants here. Now we've got about an hour and a half drive ahead of us. So we thought, let's use V to L and cook ourselves some not so delicious lunch. Now I've never done this before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Does it show that I don't know what I'm doing? Right, now we've got that open, we're gonna plug this in here. This is the DC charger. I can hear it whirring away. And it's got power because the light's on here, great. So let's plug this in. So is it tea or is it coffee? Because it's jasmine tea coffee flavour. Anyway, we'll find out. I think the kettle's boiling. Right, the kettle's boiled, it's full of water, so let's go and make our delicious noodles. Well, they're noodles, I don't know if they're delicious. I had good pot noodle making skills from university, so I know what I'm doing. I never know what to fill these up to, that'll do. There you go, coffee and noodles for lunch. Breakfast of kings. Oh! Only problem is this is a bit too low for me. Right, bon appetit. Tastes like rubber bands. Oh, not very nice. At least I got a coffee to wash it down though. Oh, that's delicious. That's really nice.
Right, I feel I've peaked at this point. Time to move on. Just like the caravans of the old Silk Road, our 21st century caravan, the NIO ET5T, was proving to be the perfect companion for this long journey.
This is amazing, it's so beautiful. This is what we want. I've just seen camels. There's just camels wandering around in the desert. Of course, I mean, it's a desert, but real camels. Really remote here, very remote. But even though it's so remote, there's still battery swapping in the next 100 kilometers. In fact, there's chargers all the way along this route, the whole way of the Silk Road. It's called the Silk Road Power Journey, and it really just makes trips like this so much easier. You don't really have to think too much or do too much pre-planning around these remote areas that you're going to, because you know the swapping network or the power network is there to support your trip. And then when you've got 100 kilowatt hour batteries, you need to charge less.
Whilst we were on this route, one of my subscribers said to me, you should really go to the Rainbow Mountains. So I duly obliged. I also took my cameras because that's sort of the point.
We've really locked out with the weather today, like perfect blue sky against the beautiful reds, yellows, oranges, rust colour of the landscape. In fact, it's really good for the old Neo phone. Those colour contrasts come out really well on this screen. I'm really enjoying using the telephoto lens, that's my favourite. And I'm shooting in RAW, which is even better. Quite a haunting and ethereal sound in here with all these bells and pieces of wood with people's wishes on them. And I guess that's why this area has so many wind turbines, because it is very blowy and blustery. It's very strange when it all goes still and quiet until the next gust of wind passes through. In fact, I think we've probably come at the best time of the day for this. Look at that, just absolutely stunning. I'm gonna guesstimate this. F8 2000th of a second, 1000 F11 to open it up a bit more. Hopefully one of those will come out.
Yeah, they didn't.
So we finally made it to the end of the Great Wall. This is Jiayuguan Fort. It's built in about 1372, and we're here to have a look. This is the end of the Great Wall. The other end is just past Beijing and Beihaide, I think, by the sea. And this is the other end. Beyond here is the wilds. This is kind of seen as the unknown for most Chinese a long time ago. So beyond this was fear and uncertainty, but beyond that was Europe, you know, the Middle East and trade routes. So we're going to have a look at the end, and I'll show you our route that we've done so far. Now there's one thing I want to show you because I haven't done it yet. This is basically the map of our trip, but it's also the map of all the charging network that NIO has, this power network on the Silk Road. So, I mean, we've started off close to the beginning. The actual beginning is Xi'an. And we've travelled all the way along here, basically through Lanzhou, over through the Rainbow Mountains that we went to yesterday, and over here to Jiayuguan, and then tomorrow we'll head on to the Mogao Cave. So we've done a fair chunk of the old Silk Road, but you know, this is a real ambition from NIO to show the network like this, and to actually have the network which goes all the way out west. It's incredible, really, and this is like a traditional kind of scroll. I really like this. Right, we're about to head out of the city. This is actually where we're staying for the evening, but there's a mountain nearby which has got a really good dark sky number, which basically means it's going to be phenomenal for astro photos. Now, Brian, our cameraman, the cameraman I've had for 3 or 4 years, is a really keen astro photographer. Set up a little camp. We've got camp chairs, maybe brew a small pot of coffee, and do some stargazing, I guess. But before then, we've got about an hour to drive into the mountains. I think it's not a very busy road. Very twisty, very turny. Yeah, so next time you see me, it might be very dark. Brian's just getting his equipment set up over there, and we're going to look at some proper stars. I'm also going to try the camera on the NIO phone to see if we can do long exposure, see what stars we can see at night. It should be able to do it. I've got a tripod. It can do long exposure. And the good news is we can use this. This is the torch, so that we can keep the lights down and make our eyes adjust to the stars above. It's interesting because, you know, we were talking about the frontier earlier. That was the old frontier. Beyond those gates was the wilderness. And in fact, just over these mountains behind us, China's launching their own satellites in a city just over there to the next new frontier. And it's kind of all happening in one area, this kind of new frontier breaking. So what we've just discovered is that the Milky Way is right above our heads, which is absolutely brilliant. The last time I saw this, it was about 10 years ago. Sorry, you can't see my face. I've actually managed to capture it on this camera. I've widened the lens to the ultra wide settings, so 14mm lens, ISO 3200, and it's how many seconds? 30 seconds. And I've actually managed to do it. If I turn the torch off, you can actually see it with your naked eye. It's so cool. So I'm gonna try this, turn the torch off, and I'm sure you'll see the finished results in a minute. Ready?
Now, normally we'll be showing you amazing photos that Brian took, but he got the wrong equipment apparently. So he's blaming his equipment for his lack of images. But I got some nice images, so here they are. Yeah, I totally won that, Brian. Right, so it's 6:20 in the morning. We're about to drive to our last destination. And last night we got to the hotel quite late after doing the star kind of photos and exploring the mountain. And NIO's got something called one-click charging, where you just use the NIO app, and someone came along last night, took our cars away to the charger, charged them for us, and left them back at the hotel. So now we've got a full battery for our next rather long drive, but that's a pretty amazing service. And when we got back to the car, they've even left us a handwritten note. That's a lovely touch. And that is going to haunt me forever. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. It's just the default on the car, okay? It's me and Nomi are going to hang out together. Hey, Nomi. Right, now we've got our ticket. Time to go back on the highway to our next destination. We've just left Jiangye, and now we're heading to Ginta Forest Park. About 206 kilometers and about 3 hours of driving now. Now I've been in the car for a few days, I've really got to learn what things I like about it and what things I don't like. I want to start with one of the things I don't like. But it's these window switches. But the most annoying thing is when you click down, the window goes up. When you click up, the window goes down. There's a real joy in coming off the main road, the big expressway, which is, I mean, it's fine in this car because it's very easy, but it's a little bit boring. There's not much to look at.
If we go this way, we've come off the highway, we've gone on this very small country road, and there's no one else here. All of the trees along the side are bright yellow against the blue skies is stunning. But it's just so nice to have the road to ourselves. We're passing through small villages where villagers are putting their corn outside to dry in the sun for the difficult winter months ahead. This is just, yeah, this is a great form of travelling, very enjoyable. Apart from the people who are in a rush and want to overtake you. It's really amazing when I look around me, because on one side I can see basically the end of the Great Wall of China, so that comes through here. We're going to see the end of it later, but on this side I can see like little outposts which are still there from hundreds of years ago. On the other side I can see massive solar farms and wind farms next to each other generating electricity. So in one scene I've got China's past and China's future. This trip doesn't fail to disappoint with things to see. It's really staggering.
Next stop on our road trip was the Ginta National Park, which is just about still covered in its custard leaves. Yeah, I'll explain that in a minute.
We've made it to the, I think probably the biggest tree here, and it's still got its yellow leaves on it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so bright, yellow and vibrant against the blue sky. It's gonna look fab in photos. I reckon, yeah, about a week or 2 weeks and that'll all be gone. Now you can see throughout this landscape there's a few other trees dotted with yellow leaves as well, like in the background. But this is by far the biggest and, in my eyes, the best. Time to get some photos, I think. This thing is absolutely huge. It's just got so many different yellows and different colours and shining very differently in all the different lights. Of course, the obligatory prayer things. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. There's always speakers playing music. Can't just be nice and peaceful and just listen to the sounds of nature. No, they've got to have sounds of speakers. I think it's time for a cup of coffee in this absolutely beautiful environment. Afternoon cup of coffee, pour that in there. It was roasting hot yesterday. Pour the capsule in, I should be good to go in a couple of minutes. Right, this will be ready in a couple of minutes, but having coffee, just sitting down, enjoying this environment, it's good for the soul. Cheers. Too hot. So we're heading out to the charging stop at Guazhou NIO power piles, and now we're heading off to our last destination. The original plan was to go and look at some caves, but I don't think that's particularly exciting. So we're going to look at something which is basically from an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, so at this point I could sort of sense the crew getting a little bit sick of filming the car, so they sort of seem to follow different vehicles, including that truck.
Right, so we just arrived in a place called Guazhou at the NIO charging piles. I still have 36% left, about 245 kilometres. We're only going 120 kilometres, that's the end of the journey. But we're going to have a quick top up anyway. So this is 2 piles, 120 kilowatts. So us and the camera car are going to share 20 kilowatts, 60 kilowatts each. And it's simply plug and play. And you'll notice I'm wearing my big jacket now because it's noticeably colder as we're getting further west. So we've got a quick charge, maybe 20 minutes, and that's it. We'll be on our way to the final destination. This is day, 4 or 5. If I was going to summarise driving this car, it's very difficult because the car did everything so faultlessly. It was really just a simple, a car shouldn't complicate your life. It should add to your life, make it easier. And this and the charging experience has made this supremely straightforward. I haven't had any issues, battery swapping, finding the charging piles, charging, loads of range. I mean, it's been brilliant. I'm glad we stopped for the 100 kilowatt hour battery at the start, but that's exactly what it's for. It's for road trips like this. And I know NIO have the 150 kilowatt hour battery, so you could go even further without stopping. I think what this really shows is that the network is so important in the transition to electric vehicles. The charging network here in China is still not perfect, but it's so much better than back home in the UK. I think other people got to experience something like this. I think they'd be extremely impressed of what electric cars are capable of. Imagine yesterday we were at that fortress, the end of the Great Wall. This really is what was beyond that. It's desert, pure desert. Now it's not all like this. It's a oasis in the desert. We'll see the oasis in a minute, but you can imagine those early travelers struggling through here, and you can't really imagine how they think, oh, how many thousands of kilometers to get to my next trading post. Just shows the variety of landscapes there are. It's just one province. We're only in Gansu province. I hope the view's worth it at the top. Yeah, it's looking quite good already. I think Indiana Jones's father would have best said this, like Junya, the city with the oasis in the desert. Well, here it is. I found it, Mr. Indiana Jones. But this is the end of our trip. This signals the very end of our trip across Gansu on the Silk Road. Lots of very varied landscapes, hopefully got some good pictures, and just met some very interesting people as well. I think this journey's been all about connections, connecting with the NIO network, connecting with people around here, and then realizing that EVs can actually go anywhere. I knew that already, but anyway, if you don't mind me, I think there's only one way to get down here. See you later. This is the quickest way down. You're going as well. Oh, my shoes are full of sand. Very heavy. It's quite a lot.